Hey everyone! In this first video in our report series, I want to walk you through the different components of the business intelligence tool. But before we do that, I wanted to define what reports are in the SiteStacker context as well. So when we get building in the business intelligence tool, you'll see that we use data sets and data views to pull in all the information that we need to present to your team. Once we pull that information into the front end though, we're left with what we call a data view. So that would be this guy. This one is titled the financial report, but really the report itself is however you decide to use this view. You can filter it, choose different fund names, specific parameters that you really want to see, and that technically would be the report. The report itself is the context that you as the user choose to pull out of a data set. So now when we jump into the business intelligence tool, we can see on the left-hand side here, each one of these blue icons represents a data query. For example, that financial report that we were looking on the front end, if I open this query up, we can see that within the query, we have data sets. Within that data set, we have different tables. And this is where the magic happens, where you're pulling all your information together, pulling all of the columns that you want in your final product. And then down here, like a funnel, we're narrowing it down. We're coming to the financial report data view. So that's what we saw on the front end side. And then that view is what you can go ahead and filter or export, whatever you need to do to create the report that your team needs to use. So let's break that down a little bit and just look at each piece that makes up a report. So the blue icons, like we said, that represents the main query. Within that main query, the orange stacked icons represent the base dataset. The base dataset is basically a container for all of your information that you want to be pulled into your report. So here in this base dataset, we have these tables that are represented by the red icons. The historic gift table is the main table, and you can see there's several other ones joined to it, and that lets you pull in all kinds of information from your SiteStacker database. In addition to the base dataset, you can also have aggregate datasets. This query doesn't have one of those. We'll look at that in a later video. But each dataset also comes with its own set of modifiers. So that includes things like conditions, group by statements that just help you to narrow down your information, modify it as you get it to the front end for your consumer. Below the dataset and the tables, you also have this green list here. This represents all of the columns that you've pulled from your models or your tables. And each one of those columns are represented on the right-hand side here. So on the left side of the screen, that's where you'll build your report and build your queries and your datasets. On the right side is where the information of your datasets are going to display. If we continue to scroll down, just like a funnel getting smaller, we have our data views. So again, another blue icon. This is what actually gets published to the dashboard itself. This data view is what lets you choose from the columns that you've pulled in your base query. You can pull specific columns in here, and then the funnel gets even smaller. You can continue to add conditions or group by statements to just continue to shape this information before it comes to the consumer on the front end side. A lot of these terms may or may not be familiar. The unique thing about the business intelligence tool is that it combines the MySQL database language and concepts with an easy to navigate user interface. So there are a lot of opportunities when you're building a query and building your reports to use MySQL, to use statements and group by functions. We do suggest having a base knowledge of the MySQL database language, but if you don't have that already, there's a lot of really good online resources to help you build those skills as you play around with the reporting tool. A couple of other quick features to point out on the reporting tool. Here next to each of your views, you have this eye icon. That'll open up a preview of your data view in another tab. That's really helpful to have open while you're editing your report, because then you can just refresh the tab every time you make a change. At the top of the query here, this gray arrow icon lets you generate the results of your base query. You also have the option to regenerate automatically, or if you make a change that you need to refresh your query for, you can click this button, Regenerate Report. Also, one more super helpful feature as you build your reports, if you come to the name of your query and you right-click, you have this option to save a new snapshot. So this is basically saving a version of your report the way that it is so that you can make new changes to it. And then if you decide that the changes weren't helpful, you can go back, right click, and restore from a previous snapshot that you created. Okay, those are some of the basic pieces of the reporting tool and some of the concepts that we work with as we create our reports. So in our next video, we're going to jump into how to create a simple report together. Thank you.